What's a small act of kindness you were once shown that you'll never forget? It was junior year of high school, late spring, right before finals. I'd been driving for a few months, still getting used to keeping track of keys, wallet, all the adult stuff they don't really teach you about in school. That day I had an early release and decided to treat myself to lunch. There was this little Mexican restaurant across from the strip mall where kids from my school like to hang out. I went alone. Wasn't unusual. I wasn't unpopular, just more of a floater. And sometimes I liked the quiet. I ordered a burrito combo and ate in the corner by the window, scrolling through my phone, half distracted. When I finished, I stood up, gathered my trash on the tray, and dumped the whole thing into the big silver trash can by the door. I remember thinking it felt weirdly heavier than it should have, but I didn't think anything of it. I walked out to the parking lot, pulling out my phone again, and did that awkward pat down of my pockets. Phone, wallet, no keys. I went back inside, checked the table. Nothing. I walked up to the guy who'd been wiping tables, probably in his early 20s, short black hair, quiet kind of demeanor, and asked him if he'd cleared anything from where I was sitting. He said no, hadn't touched it. That's when the realization hit. I'd tossed them. My keys were in the trash. He nodded when I told him, kind of gave a sympathetic shrug and said, I just took it out back like 5 minutes ago. So I went outside and stood near the curb, heart sinking. I called my dad, hoping there was a spare. There wasn't. He wasn't mad, just tired. Guess you'll have to go digging, he said. He wasn't wrong. I hung up and just stood there for a minute, trying to work up the nerve to ask the restaurant staff if I could go through their dumpster. I was in jeans and a school hoodie, not exactly dressed for it. Part of me wanted to just sit down on the sidewalk and deal with the shame for a while. When I walked back in, trying to keep it together, I looked over toward the kitchen, and there he was, the same guy I'd talked to. He was standing just inside the back door, holding something up in the air. My keys. He had gone out there on his own, without me asking, and fished through the trash until he found them. Didn't make a show of it, didn't call attention to himself, just walked over, dropped them in my hand, and said, "Here you go." I stared at them like they were made of gold. "Thank you," I said, probably too many times. He just smiled a little and said, "No problem," and went back to wiping tables. I walked out of that restaurant a little stunned. I'd been ready to roll up my sleeves and climb into a dumpster, maybe cry a little after. But this guy, who didn't know me, didn't owe me anything, just saw I was in a spot and did something kind without being asked. I sat in my car afterward for a few minutes, keys in my lap, thinking about how rare that felt. Someone doing something gross, thankless, just to help. No lectures, no, next time be more careful, no weird judgment. I never got his name. I went back to that restaurant a few times after, but I didn't see him again. Maybe he quit. Maybe it was just one shift. But 11 years later, I still remember him. I've forgotten the burrito, forgotten what I was wearing, forgotten what class I had that morning. But I remember the way he walked back from that dumpster holding my keys like it was no big deal. Like that was just what you do.